Getting started.
The most important thing that we can do at this time is to circulate these ideas among those who we trust and admire. Share and promote these ideas in whatever ways you think will benefit our message, being as creative, ambitious, and determined as we can manage. Like I said once before, anyone may use the emblem of Compra Chicos as a symbol of support insofar as it is done respectfully, adding it to anything at all that might increase the visibility of our collective cause. The more that we can get our symbol and ideals circulating among the public, the quicker will we be able to effect measurable change among society. To these ends, I will be providing the public with free templates for all of the main graphics so that anyone may produce buttons, patches, stickers, and circular business cards bearing the Compra Chicos logo, wishing to see our mark visible on the wall of every punk venue and bathroom stall and street sign around, within the bounds of legality and ethicality, of course. And I ask that all participants exercise common sense and respect for property, seeking permission whenever necessary. We don't require these elaborate tracts to propagate our message. The symbol alone will be sufficient in most cases. After all, even though Compra Chicos may be associated with certain aims, it is, in many ways, a vehicle more so than it is an ideology, being like the ship that will house all our daringest efforts as a species. When Compra Chicos first kicked off back in 2018, I went and established relationships with many local business owners within my community so as to have our work circulating within the local community. This ranged from partnerships to simply co-creating secret menus with local bars and restaurants, or having our patches, pins, and DIY zines stocked in stores. Ultimately, I would not underestimate the sheer worth of such street team type activities, imagining that this be one of the most valuable undertakings in the early years of our collective while individual divisions are being established and gaining a clear sense of vision. But beyond that, I haven't the time or capacity to sit here and list off all of the potential ways in which one might go about reforming the order of society as it stands, and you will just have to pardon me if it seems my exposition is incomplete and lacking. After all, this is not meant to be a satisfying meal but a seed which bears within itself all the promise of endless banquets for one and all, and the task of the reader is to water that seed with all that you've got. So in the immediate and practical sense, what can you as an individual do to observe and promulgate these ideals? For the most part, that is to be settled upon by those who succeed me. And I'm perfectly happy with that approach, as I sure don't want this to be all about me filling your heads with what you should and shouldn't want from life. In order for it to be effective, in order for anything to be effective, it must come from a place of innateness and sincerity. In that sense, I would much rather be the inciting agent. I want my words to become the alcohol on which you become drunk, liberated, and whatever crying fits or bursts of rage or unsolicited confessions may come of that, they come only from the deepest parts of you yourself. I don't deal in culty crap. I won't force you to wear my philosophy and identity as your own and have you fight my battles for me. Apart from the ethicality of such acts, I struggle to understand how one could even desire as much, unless by way of deep-set neuroses. I do not seek after followers or even protégés but equals, allies, friends. I desire for my words to connect with those who see what I have to say and think to themselves, this is my battle also. And all those who come aboard shall do so of their own volition and with their own identity, and their own unique beliefs, which have been shaped by their own unique experiences in life. Your beliefs need not be compatible with mine in all aspects. That ain't the sort of homogeneity that we should be seeking in society. It is enough to have our priorities in alignment. It is enough that we share in this unselfish passion for humanity and its welfare. That is all I could ever ask for. Your contribution can be as simple as refusing to perpetuate the same failures which have brought so much damage upon this sphere, choosing instead to take a more constructive and courageous approach overall which does not feed into dangerous trends of culture. All change begins first within the mind of the individual, and any individual who knows their own heart and mind will not be found questioning what is needed by society. Therefore, when at a loss for how to contribute to the world around you, seek fervently after developing your self-awareness and emotional intelligence, and with sufficient growth, the way forward will be revealed to you, surely, as one can only go so deep into the personal before arriving at the universal. A lot of this is going to involve very basic and even boring tasks, with many of our operations more or less requiring us to play the game of life, as it were, ascending the meaningless ladders and steps put in place so that once there, we may essentially do away with such ladders altogether. So if you envision yourself running around like snipers in the dark of night, you're probably perusing the wrong PDF. Social media is going to be a valuable tool in our effort to shift the values of the population, and that can entail everything from the circulation of memes to creating trends via viral videos and whatever else seems a valid avenue of positive change. And I ain't simply talking about promoting Compra Chicos and its mythologies. No, that comes secondary to our foremost goal, which is not self-promotion, but the promotion of healthier interactions and considerations, which is achieved by shifting the public paradigm on the level of desire, and in most cases these efforts should not be readily traceable back to Compra Chicos unless when circulating our associated mythologies. And I know that the type of people who are liable to relate to these ideals often oppose social media or at least see it as beneath them, though these means must not be neglected from our operation. Approach each task creatively, artfully. It is our experimentation, after all, that sets us apart as a collective. Yet see to it that all things return to the humanitarian purposes herein delineated, taking every effort in creation as an opportunity to help our society away from the cliff's edge, if even by a millimeter. And do not neglect to reach out and coordinate with others who share in your sensibility and ethos, as that is the way to truly create an empire that stands impenetrably and indefinitely. Great men are not so rare as to be unheard of, but we must congregate our great men as we do our lesser, and not leave them to gouge out their hearts and minds in soul-sapping solitude.